Today is the first episode of a new series where I'm going to show you how to start your own Pokemon business. In 2018, I started PokeCollect with a $1,000 investment. Less than 5 years later, that's turned into over $15 million in sales. Lots of things have changed since 2018, and I've made some mistakes along the way, but I'm going to use everything I've learned to show you how to start a Pokemon business in 2023. Today's video is going to be a general overview of everything you'll need to start a business in 2023. I will be releasing a more in-depth video on every topic we discussed today. We're going to be talking about Shopify and Binder POS. We're also going to be discussing eBay, TCG Player, and whatnot, and how to source your cards through Facebook, finding sellers in Japan, and Pokemon distributors. So first up, we're going to talk about Shopify and Binder POS. PokeCollect is still run on these platforms. The reason is these are just the best platforms to host a Pokemon website. Shopify is just extremely easy to use. Most everything in the website builder is just plug and play. And plus, when you use Binder POS, you actually get an amazing default website template. So let me show you a bunch of reasons why you want to use Binder POS. Now, you don't necessarily have to start with Binder POS and Shopify right at the start, but if you're going to be selling on eBay and TCG Player, you might want to go ahead and do this. Binder POS actually syncs all of your inventory to eBay and TCG Player automatically. So whether you're selling Pokemon singles, even Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, any of those other card games, Binder POS actually has an entire singles database for all of those games. So all you have to do is add the cards that you have, and then it will sync it to eBay and TCG Player for you, as well as automatically price all of your cards. Binder POS uses TCG Player API so that you can set all the rules that you want to price your cards. For example, if you want to sell all your cards for 10% under TCG Player market price, you can do that automatically. Another great feature is that it uses that same data to create a buy list. So you can go on the back end and select the cards that you want to buy. Customers can fill out that buy list on your website and then send cards to you at the prices that you want to pay. For example, you can set your buy list to pay 60 or 70% of TCG Player market price, so you've already got that margin built right in. So here's kind of an example of what the singles would look like on your website. Now, these prices are updated every 12 hours. Again, Binder is using that data from TCG Player to automatically price your cards. So all you have to do is set your parameters and just forget about it. So in the Binder POS software, here is where you can actually integrate all your cards to eBay and TCG Player. You can fill out all the parameters you want to use on eBay. For example, if you want to have free shipping or something like that on eBay, or if you want to increase or decrease your prices on a certain platform, you can do that. And the same goes for TCG Player. You can sync your entire inventory with just a click of a couple buttons here. So that's why Binder POS is incredibly valuable if you want to start a Pokemon business. All right, and here's a quick look at the buy list that you get with Binder POS. And we're actually going to talk about how to use the other platforms to bring traffic to your website. So we're going to click Pokemon here. So this is what the customer would see on their end. So let's say I'm a customer trying to sell you some Crown Zenith cards. These are the prices that I would see on my end in cash and store credit. And these are all based on the parameters that you would set for how much you want to pay for the cards. So for an example, if I was the customer here and I had this Hisuian Zoroark V and Glaceon V-Star to sell you, you would be paying $23.40 in cash to this customer. And again, these tools are so powerful, they can help you all the way from starting your business and still be using the same platforms even in a multi-million-dollar Pokemon business. All right, so now we're going to talk about eBay and TCG Player. Both of these marketplaces are not only going to be great to sell your cards, but to gain new customers. So every listing that you see here are actually synced from Shopify. I didn't have to list any one of these cards individually. So that alone saves you so much time in this process. And you're going to use these opportunities to market your website. So things like business cards or coupons, things that you want to send people to get them to come to your website and buy there. eBay and whatnot are probably also going to be your best bets to sell graded cards. If you want to know what cards to grade and how to grade them, we have a ton of videos on that as well, so make sure to check those out. And next up, we're going to talk about TCG Player. TCG Player is probably going to be your best bet to sell all of your playable cards. Now, if you are using Binder POS and everything's already syncing, then you might just be able to sell everything here. But if you're priced super well, TCG Player can sell your cards extremely fast. Now, the downside to TCG Player is that they probably have the highest fees out of any platform, especially when you consider that most transactions are probably going to be under $10. That being said, if you're buying bulk from some of your customers, whether it's through your website, Facebook Marketplace, or Facebook groups, you can sort through that bulk and actually find some playable trainers or playable VMAXs, Vs, things like that. And because you bought them so cheap, you actually will have pretty high margins on TCG Player. So here's a great example of a card that you might come across buying bulk from customers. Super playable trainers like this can go anywhere from like $1 to $2, and you'll rack up a ton of these going through bulk. So even though these are cheap and you may only net like 70 cents per card, if you're paying like 1 or 2 cents per common card, you're making a huge profit on these. So TCG Player is a great platform to get started. However, as you continue to grow, the value of TCG Player becomes less and less. In fact, we actually don't use TCG Player anymore just because it's not really worth our time to do this. But I'm going to talk about another platform that I really wish was available when I got started. So next up, we are going to be talking about Whatnot. If this platform had existed when I started, this would have tremendously expedited the growth of the business. Now, the big catch to Whatnot is that you actually do have to be live. So if you're comfortable with putting on a live stream, this platform has so many opportunities. This platform is great for selling singles, slabs, doing pack breaks, just about anything. It's also extremely good for cash flow because everything is live. So that means you are guaranteeing sales, which is tough tougher to do on the other platforms. Some of the streamers on here I know this is their full-time job, and a lot of these people actually don't even have real distributors. Whatnot also has the lowest fees out of any platform. I want to say it's around 8%, but the biggest catch is that you actually don't have to pay any shipping. Whatnot actually charges the buyer shipping, and all you have to do is send it to them. With all those factors combined, I would have to say Whatnot is probably the best platform by far to get started with the Pokemon business. And again, the main purpose to use all of these platforms is to get people to go to your website. So this is one of the best ways to grow a loyal customer base. All right, so now we're going to talk about a bunch of cool ways to source cards without a distributor. The first thing I want to mention, and actually the way I got started, was by Facebook groups. There's actually a ton of Pokemon buy, sell, and trade groups on Facebook. This is where you want to post listings to maybe buy some bulk cards from people, or maybe search the groups to buy out collections. There's really a ton of opportunities here, and you can get creative with really whatever you want to buy. Now here's an example of a buy list that you might want to post on a Facebook group. This is actually on our website, but feel free to use the prices as sort of a guide to how much you should pay for the cards. As long as you're paying some competitive rates for these cards, you're bound to get some people to respond. There's actually a bunch of people that do bulk arbitrage, and what that is when you buy bulk cards from individuals, you can sort through and take the cards that you want to sell, like on TCG Player, eBay, things like that, and with the rest of the cards, actually sell them to a bigger company for more money than what you paid, or at least around break even. That way you're able to profit from the cards that you took out. So always check the Facebook groups for other buyers that maybe you're paying more than what you paid for the bulk. I think one of the biggest opportunities in Pokemon cards right now is selling Japanese cards. The best way to do this is to find some sellers that are actually in Japan. You can do this through Facebook groups as well. There's even some groups that are dedicated specifically to Japanese Pokemon cards, but you want to find some sellers that can provide you with singles, maybe even sealed product or things that you can get in the Pokemon Center in Japan. Japanese products are probably going to do best on Whatnot and your own website. Unfortunately, Binder POS does not work with Japanese cards, so you wouldn't be able to sell these on TCG Player, and it'd be tough to do on eBay. However, there really is a fantastic opportunity with selling singles on Whatnot, potentially even grading the Japanese cards, because Japanese cards just grade so much better than English. And then if you're able to get a good, reliable seller, you can actually get sealed product for a really good price. So another great resource for finding a seller in Japan is going to be through eBay. There are tons of sellers in Japan that are selling on eBay every single day. So you want to try to find one with some good sales history and a good reputation on eBay. So this is a great way to purchase some singles. So you definitely want to message a seller on eBay to tell them what kind of singles you're interested in purchasing, potentially even cards that they aren't even listing, because a lot of these sellers that are in Japan actually have their own card stores and are probably able to get you a lot of things that they may not even be selling on their website. This is actually how I find most of my sellers in Japan. We've had some videos on that as well if you want to check those out. And always keep in mind, the more cards that you buy, the more likely they are to give you a discount on all the cards. It saves them a ton of money to not have to ship all these cards to individual buyers. So building a business relationship with some of these sellers in Japan is absolutely invaluable, and it'll help you diversify your products of your business to expand even faster. And last but not least, we're going to talk about getting an actual licensed Pokemon distributor. Right now might actually be a really good time to sign up for a new distributor account. There was a time during the Pokemon craze that distributor accounts were absolutely locked down and nobody could sign up for one, but 2022 was a pretty tough year for a lot of game stores. So a lot of distributors are open to accepting new accounts. Now, depending upon which one you choose, they may or may not accept an e-commerce only business. The nice thing about Pokemon is that it's actually not required to own a brick and mortar store. So it is really up to the distributor whether they want to accept your account or not. The one I chose here is Southern Hobby Supply, and that's actually the first distributor that I signed up with. I actually signed up with them before I had a brick and mortar store. They've got warehouses all over the country, so you don't have to be in the Southeast, but feel free to apply to all sorts of distributors. There's actually a list on Pokemon's website with all of their licensed distributors. I'll make sure to link that in the description, but it really doesn't hurt to apply to any one of these. Getting a distribution account can absolutely change the game. Getting licensed Pokemon products for wholesale pricing opens up so many opportunities. In fact, Binder POS actually has a sealed product database now, so when you list these products on your website, you can actually sync them to eBay and even TCG Player. Not only that, if you're doing pack breaks on Whatnot, your cost per pack is going to be so much less. So getting that distribution account might be tough, but it's absolutely going to change the game for your business. That's it for the first episode of how to create a Pokemon business in 2023. I'll be releasing a more in-depth guide on all the topics we talked about today. I really hope you were able to learn something valuable. Even if you're not trying to start a business, if you love collecting Pokemon cards like I do, it doesn't hurt to make a little extra money on the side while you enjoy collecting or playing the game. Don't forget to check the description for all the links to the resources that we talked about today. Our website is also linked in the description if you want to help support the channel. Make sure you check out the other episodes for this series once they're released. And with that, we'll see you next time.